Alright, so the dust has settled from this Miami Grand Prix, and well, we have to address some stuff that was said prior to the Grand Prix and after the Grand Prix, just in regards to the circuit. So firstly, prior to the Grand Prix, there were a bunch of people saying that, Miami was going to be the new Monaco and all of that. And I understand from an economist standpoint, Miami is presenting itself as the new Monaco with the rich people going in, buying property and all of that. I get that. We're not actually here to talk that. We're talking Formula One. So, before the Grand Prix, there was a lot of signaling about how Miami was going to put an end to the Monaco Grand Prix. And I found that bizarre because, well, firstly, wasn't it supposed to be Vegas that put an end to the Monaco Grand Prix? I suppose that's just a fan narrative, right? Instead of what they're saying internally. But also, Vegas is just it's just a more prestigious and glamorous event than Miami. I don't know if any Miami resident's going to take offense to that. It just is what it is. So there was never any way that there was never any chance in hell. It wasn't a snowball in hell's chance of Miami supplanting Monaco. It was just never going to happen. So I don't really know why they released this news. I find it bizarre. Maybe it was just the ticket pricing or something, because the ticket pricing is allegedly similar to Monaco's ticket pricing. But they said this, it's of course fallen on its face, and now we pick up the pieces in post. So the drivers agree Miami is no threat to Monaco's F1's crown jewel. Well, I'll go even further on that. There is no replacing Monaco. There is no Grand Prix that could be, thought up today that would replace Monaco. It's just not gonna happen. I mean, outside of the location for Monaco, like just the geography of the circuit is so unique that you're just not gonna. You have to bring a circuit geography that's as unique as Monaco in order to replace Monaco. Without doing that, it's really a non-discussion. But here we go. The drivers said they've agreed now. Miami is no threat to Monaco's F1's crown jewel. Now they might be affected by some goings on over the weekend. So, for instance, there was Sainz and Ocon having their crash at that complex of corners that I've dubbed the Miami complex. Your turns 14, 15, 16. That crash is there. So now in post there's complaints about the safety standard of the circuit. The problem with that corner, I don't know if people know this or not. The problem with that corner and why they've not put any Tech Pro barriers there. I confuse the Tech Pro barriers with safer barriers from IndyCar. But anyway, the reason they haven't put Tech Pro barriers there is because there's an entrance road there. There's an entrance road to the circuit there. Who's coming in over there? I don't know. Maybe that's where the teams bring their trucks in or something. Who knows? I would need film from, whenever the teams arrive. Now, supposedly, Ocon had a 51G crash, going into that concrete over there where the entrance road is at that complex. Now, this is more likely a result of the cars being made heavier and heavier, more than circuit safety standards, I suppose. But this is something that the FIA, Formula One management, FOM, they should have gotten ahead of this, because this is their circuit design. You see, it would be one thing if Miami was paying F1 for this Grand Prix, but Formula One has paid Miami to host a Grand Prix in Miami. So all the whatever holes in the safety standards there are at the circuit, that's on Formula One. That's not on Miami. Could we blame the circuit designers? I mean, yeah, but the circuit designers were working with the space they were given with, and quite frankly, they're not the ones who decide if the circuit is F1 grade or not. And we'll get to the circuit designer in a bit. Right, here's another news piece. Miami is the new Monaco as it gears up for its debut on the F1 calendar. Weekend race tickets are selling for £875 with dinner at a pop-up restaurant costing, wow. Wow. Is that just dinner? That's insane. Okay. So the reason that they've said this is the new Monaco is exclusively down to the pricing of the event. And let me tell you, goddamn, with dinner costing £2,550 a person, what shit? It might as well be the new Monaco if you're gonna do that, or glitz it up a bit. You know, if you're gonna charge people that much for a dinner, yeah, you might as well make that the new Monaco. It's never gonna be, of course, but yeah, you might as well sell that to people, I suppose. Now it makes sense, right? I mean, would people be? But I would really love to see what the sales figures are for this restaurant. But anyway, this is one of the main reasons that it's been coming out that, you know, the circuit was new Monaco. They're gonna do this again for Vegas next year. Of course, I don't know what's gonna happen in Vegas. Vegas, by the way, that track, I don't know how. I really wonder what the average speed is going to be around there. It's surely going to supplant Jeddah as the fastest street circuit, but we'll just have to see what happens. So anyway, getting back to Miami. The Miami track designer is embarrassed by driver complaints. Now, the drivers did complain in post of this race, and they were mostly complaining about the track surface breaking up. So I don't really know why the track designer is embarrassed. I mean, I guess just hearing people complaining about your product would be embarrassing. But that aside, it's not really on his design that the asphalt was breaking up. It's just a case of they were using temporary asphalt to lay the track down, because of course it's happening in the parking lots of the Hard Rock Stadium or what have you. So all this track that we were seeing over the week is gone. Well, I mean, maybe they wouldn't get rid of it that quick, but it's being removed as we speak. In my mind, it's already gone. It's back to pure parking lot, but who knows? Miami residents will know, I suppose, but I certainly don't know. I don't have eyes there. But the track designer, he was embarrassed by driver complaints. Really, don't worry about it. Clive Bone is the track designer for this Miami Autodrome. My dude, if you ever hear this video, don't worry about it. Those asphalt woes, quite frankly, you know, FOM will have geniuses, experts working on the temporary asphalt mix over the whole year. So if they don't have it solved by next season's race, it will definitely be solved for the race after that. But now we have to get into an issue on circuit design. All right, it has become apparent to, I don't know, I suppose journos who are watching now, that a lot of these new, oh my god, why is my phone going off? But anyway, it's become apparent to a lot of these new journos that all these circuits, like I said in the Saudi observations in regards to circuit bragging rights, it's become very apparent to a lot of these journals that all these new quote-unquote street circuits, I even struggle to call Jeddah a street circuit, but all these quote-unquote new street circuits are taking cues from Baku, and of course they're now also going to take cues from Jeddah, especially Las Vegas. That's going to take a lot of cues from Jeddah in regards to how fast the average lap speed is. But that castle section of Baku, yeah, it seems to be getting replicated in a few places. I don't really have a problem with that, but it is worthwhile to note. But here we've got this quote, the high-speed sweeps of the first sector, for instance, are straight out of Saudi Arabia, while the clumsy collection of corners leading onto the longest straight later in the lap, that's the Miami complex, ending in a close to the walls left-hander as the track narrows, bears a striking resemblance to Baku. Well, not really, it doesn't really bear a striking resemblance to Baku, but I can see where the inspiration comes from. So as F1 gears up for this Las Vegas GP, and Domenicali is on record as saying it's the perfect marriage of speed and glamour, and it allegedly generated more social media activity than the announcement of the Super Bowl, 4 times more to be exact, which is quite the number. But as we gear up for this Las Vegas Grand Prix, and we're gearing up over the whole year. Alright, the whole season and change, we're gearing up for this Las Vegas Grand Prix. Because this is where the championship actually starts. Alright, this Las Vegas thing, this is where, the new Formula One really starts, when this Las Vegas Grand Prix is finally started. When the green flag is flown, that's when it really starts. So I said this when the Vegas GP was announced, that the social media impact of this race was going to be huge. I mean, I was thinking of just, the Grand Prix weekend with people taking film for TikTok and Instagram and the like of the cars going around Vegas, I was thinking of just that. But even just the announcement really, shifted the meta on social media. So with all of this happening, one has to wonder, and with Miami taking shortcuts on safety standards, one has to wonder what exactly are the safety standards of Las Vegas going to be. Mind you, I'm sure if the drivers make a lot of noise about safety this season, they'll make a concerted effort for safety at Vegas. And I'm pretty sure they don't want something, weird happening at Vegas, something to mar the event. I'm pretty sure they're going to strive to make sure that doesn't happen. Anyway, there's one more news piece we got to get to. And this is a journal question. I mean, some people will probably go to the website to answer the question, right? It said GP fans, if anyone is interested, I suppose. But they've got an article here, F1 City Track Revolution, is it the right move? So of course now they're saying Formula One is aping Formula E with invading cities and, making street circuits and just forcing the event onto the populace, so that you have to see the Formula One now, whether you pay for ticket or not, because it's occupying your city, so you're going to want to know why are the roads closed. Of course, Miami is a different scenario. It's in the parking lot, so the roads don't really get closed like that. But, well, I suppose entrance to the Hard Rock Stadium was closed on some roads. We saw that on TV, quite frankly, during the free practice sessions. But this is a very interesting question. Is this F1 City Track Revolution the right move? And quite frankly, I have no qualms with it. I mean, before Jeddah, I have problems with Jeddah, right? Me personally, I have problems with that circuit. That circuit is an unsafe circuit. But before Jeddah, we didn't actually know what could be done with street circuits. I mean, the most ambitious street circuit we had seen was Baku, where they go through Castle and they're racing down highway for like 2 kilometers or something. But that was the most ambitious street circuit we had seen until Jeddah came out. Alright, well, even Singapore was highly ambitious, although it's a more traditional street circuit with your, just a litany of 90-degree turns. It's a much more traditional street circuit. But these new street circuits, and I don't even think they should be called street circuits, quite frankly. What would we call them? I don't have a name for them yet. Quite frankly, I just don't. We could call them temporary circuits, but a street circuit is a temporary circuit. So. But all these new age street circuits that are coming out, with the sleek curves on corners and all of that, they're a good move. They are a good move. They're a really good move for Formula One, and it will be interesting to see which other venues they can take this philosophy to. Now, I don't think it will be all that much more, and quite frankly, there is a lot of pushback from the fans to actually return to, I shouldn't say return, but to just embrace traditional circuits, and we don't need to do the Formula E thing. And yes, I agree with that. Mind you, there's good racetracks in Miami, although they wouldn't be F1 grade, would they? But here we've got the poll. There's a daily poll, I suppose it's closed now. Or perhaps one can still vote on it. But anyway, here's what the fans say. Right, is F1 city track revolution the right move? Only 7% said yes, destination cities attract more fans with a spectacular backdrop. And 93% said no, traditional circuits have history and should not be lost. Now, there's a really good reason to not lose traditional circuits, because they have all the history of the sport. And Monaco, in that way, kind of presents itself as a traditional circuit. Mind you, we could call it a traditional street circuit. That is exactly what it is. And Singapore likewise is a traditional street circuit, but it doesn't have the history. Well, it's got some history, some very short history, but it doesn't have the history of the long-standing circuits, as it were. So this is an interesting crossroads F1 finds itself in. Should it keep on pushing? Should it keep on pushing the street circuits, the modern street circuits with, really elegant curves on the track design, or should they just go for traditional circuits and keep it standard, as it were? Keep it simple. Stupid. Should they really do that? Quite frankly, I don't know. Because these new age street circuits, they do have a place on the F1 calendar, but it would be problematic if, for instance, we started seeing, more than 7 of these type of street circuits on the calendar. I'm not talking about Monaco or Singapore there, those are the very traditional street circuits. We're talking about like this Miami thing where they call it a street circuit, doesn't present itself as a street circuit. Jeddah, where they call it a street circuit, doesn't present itself as a street circuit. Baku, by the way, I should give credit to Baku. Baku is actually presenting itself as a traditional street circuit. Yes, it's got a really fast section, which is unorthodox for these street circuits, but they made it fit on real roads, real public roads. So that's, it's really an interesting conundrum for F1 to find themselves in. I don't actually think it's a conundrum, but F1 does seem to be wanting to move away from traditional circuits a bit. Why that is, I'm not sure. I would assume that there's travel times for spectators to get to some circuits, like Paul Ricard, for instance. It's a mess to get to Paul Ricard. Likewise, Silverstone, it's a mess to get to Silverstone. So perhaps this is some consideration that F1, the FIA, FOM, Stefano and friends are taking into consideration. But otherwise, if they're gonna do a Miami type of situation where they actually pay the city to host the Grand Prix, they're gonna have to be on their P's and Q's. Dot their I's, cross the T's, the whole lot. The same way they expect every other circuit to do that. But I suppose this is a FOM owned event. They quite literally own the Miami event. This is an FOM owned event, and they'll just cut some corners because, well, they are their own bosses. And there's some danger presented with that, as noted by Ocon and Sainz. Talking about safety at Miami. But anyway, that's the vid. Peace. There is no new Monaco. There is only Monaco, and there is a calendar without Monaco. And we experienced the calendar without Monaco 2020. It wasn't a good year. But anyway, peace.
Hell breezy. Let me show you how to keep the dice rolling when you're doing that thing over there, homie. Hey, let's go! Cause I'm feeling like I'm running and I'm feeling like I gotta get away. Better know that I don't and I won't ever stop. Cause you know I gotta win every day. Go! See, really wanna pop me. Go! Just know that you will never flop me. And I know that I gotta be a little cocky. No! You ain't never gonna stop me. Every time I come a nigga gotta set it, then I gotta go, and then I gotta get it, then I gotta blow, and then I gotta shut it. Any little thing a nigga think that he be doing, cause it doesn't matter, cause I'm gonna dead it. Then I'm gonna murder everything and anything about it. Boom, about a bing. I gotta do a lot of things to make it clearer to a couple niggas that I always win, and then I gotta get it again and again and again. And I be doing it to death, and now I move a little foul. Nigga better call a rap, and everybody know my style. Niggas know that I'm the best when it come to doing this, and I be banging on my chest, and I bang in the east, and I banging in the west, and I kinda give you more, and I will never give you less. You will hear it in the street, and you can read it in the press. Do you really wanna know what's next? Let's go. See the way we on it, and we all up in the race, and you know we gotta go and try to keep up with the pace. If we struggling and hustling and set it and get it, and we always gotta do it, take it to another place.